Republicans have dropped out of the race for president. They include, of course, familiar names that you know, Mike Huckabee, Mitch Daniels, Donald Trump as well. We're getting a new picture of which way Republican voters are leaning. The latest Gallup poll puts Mitt Romney on top with 17%. Sarah Palin is right behind him, 15%. And Texas Congressman Ron Paul takes third place with 10%. David Drucker is a staff writer at Roll Call. And David, we had some interesting news over the last hour or so. Some indications from the Texas Governor Rick Perry that he is considering or thinking about potentially a run at the White House. And that's a reversal from what he said in the past, which was a definitive no, that he wasn't considering it at all. Do you think if he entered the race, that would change some of the results that we just showed our viewers?
Well, possibly could. You throw another name in, you give voters more choices, and it adjusts their thinking. I'm still skeptical that Governor Perry's going to run. Two of his top political aides are already working for Newt Gingrich on his presidential campaign. I think a lot of people are asking Governor Perry to take a look at it, and so he is. But I think when you're really serious and you really want it, you do a lot of the groundwork that we've seen from the candidates who are already in the race or about to formally announce that they're in. That's
an interesting point you make, David, because his aides are saying, the governor's aides are saying, well, of course he's thinking about it. It's only natural to think about it with everyone talking about it. Let's talk a little bit about this poll here. I thought this was interesting coming from Gallup as they did a summation of the results. This is what they have to say, that Romney and Palin really have picked up off of the folks that have dropped out of running. But this is what they say about Romney. Romney would be the clear frontrunner, but arguably the weakest frontrunner in any recent Republican nomination campaign. Why would that be, David?
Well, I don't know if Gallup's correct in its analysis just because it's so early in the process. Polls taken this early usually give a bump to people with name ID. So if you notice in this poll, probably Mitt Romney, Sarah Palin, and Ron Paul are three of the most well-known candidates across the country in the field. Somebody like Tim Pawlenty is known in Minnesota and not elsewhere outside of D.C. And this is why he's so far down, and I could say that about any other candidate. And so what I would tell you is any one of these candidates, either Mitt Romney, Sarah Palin, if she were to run, or a Tim Pawlenty, could end up being the nominee and could end up winning, but where they are in the polling today, this far out, really doesn't tell me much. Voters look at things much differently 6 weeks out, 4 weeks out. When they really realize it's time to vote, they think about things differently.
Let's talk then a little bit outside of the numbers. As you mentioned, Sarah Palin is one of the most well-known names out there, but she's also one of the most uncertain when it comes to who's actually jumping in. What does she represent to voters? What are voters seeing in her that would place her so high up on this poll if we're taking a look at some of the broader themes that might resonate with voters during this election?
Well, I think clearly what Sarah Palin brings to the table is a staunch conservative pretty much across the board who's not afraid to speak her mind, not afraid to tell the President of the United States, either in nice or not so nice terms, what she thinks of him and his policies. And I think in any primary election, a party's voters are hungering for somebody to, in their view, tell it like it is and get a little angry. And I think she brings that. She brings energy. She brings an ability to fundraise. And she's got a very magnetic personality, a very warm personality, and she's got the kind of charisma that you can't teach. You know, if you're a candidate like Mitt Romney, you have a lot going for you, but you lack a little in the charisma and connection area that voters want that has nothing to do with policy or points of view. And so I think that's what Sarah Palin can offer. She also, though, has a lot of negatives, and if she gets in, those negatives are going to be exploited by her opponents.
So charisma and controversy, two things to think about as we move forward towards 2012. David, nice to have you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.